All right, guys, so if you've been watching the episodes, you know we've been doing this business for about 37 years now. And after all that time, we like to think we're the baddest, most cutting-edge sign company in the nation. I know we're not, but I like to think that we are. Now, the way we run operations in this place after all these years is still kind of like an old school method. I mean, we're not like hand drawing our artwork and we're not sending our contracts out by fax. But this entire shop is littered with these blue file folders and these yellow notepads that we lose on the regular. So as we're getting bigger, we're seeing some things fall through the cracks. We're not as efficient as we used to be. So that's a danger as we're getting bigger company. We got to stay up on top of all of our information. So this week, we've decided to implement a software management program from our friends at SquareCoil. Now, SquareCoil is a software program that's industry specific for signage, but even if you're not in the sign industry, you got to check out this episode because it shows you the scope of how technology can streamline your company.
So Media One has never tracked inventory before. So if you want to know if you have a piece of this or a piece of that, you ask Dom or you ask Steve. There's no system for it. So everybody has an idea of what we got. As far as scheduling, we use a couple different things. The wrap side uses a Google Calendar. As far as the signs, Rick usually writes on a notepad while we're going over it on the Monday morning meeting. Install this week, fab this week. Let me switch that to Monday instead of Wednesday. Move this around, but it's only in Rick's notebook. Basically, it's only in Rick's head is where scheduling is. So about 4 years ago, we finally bit the bullet and decided to go with a sign-specific estimating software that was supposed to be amazing and perfect. It took about 7 or 8 months to set up and lots of money. Nobody else could use it other than maybe to print an invoice or print a work order, but nobody really used it. It all fell into my lap.
Yeah, I don't think any of us know how that's going to go. The design department, I'm not worried about these guys. We learn to use software for our jobs. We're software users. This is learning how to use new software. And it's not even complicated software like Photoshop or SolidWorks. It's just office software.
So this is a little bit intimidating because I was never really good at school because I spent a lot of time drawing and not paying attention to the teacher. And I suck at computers. I'm not really good with technology. I can't stand technology. I think it's a horrible thing. But if this is as easy as like checking an NBA score on the computer, I'm gonna be great at it. This is gonna be good.
I'm going to introduce you to Aaron Klippinger. He's from SquareCoil, flew in from California. He's here to train us on this software that we have chosen to implement after our research of multiple different platforms.
SquareCoil is basically necessity is the mother of invention. We needed a platform. The day the iPhone came out, we had a computer in our pocket, but yet we're still trying to figure out an estimate longhand on a piece of paper. We were in the dark ages in my mind, so we needed to grow and make something easier, develop something better, and so SquareCoil was invented. I started in 2008. Actually went live in 2013, and since then we now have 4 different countries, over 3,500 users running the software, and all the owners of all the different sign companies keep coming to us and saying, hey, it'd be cool if it had this, it'd be really neat if it had this, and we're constantly evolving. So we're pushing new updates about every 3 weeks of the software and constantly evolving it. If you have more than 10 employees, just like Media One had, we're going to go ahead and set up a consultation, and we're going to sign you up for a 3-day immersion clinic. First step we do is the kickoff meeting. The whole company's going to be there. They're going to be able to see the software in its entirety. They're going to see where they're going to plug themselves into. Each section of the software is going to set up. So estimating is going to work in the estimating, sales will work in proposals, the shop will work in manufacturing. But when you get to see what every step of every employee is doing throughout the process, it really kind of makes you feel that you're part of something bigger because you understand how much work and effort went into it before it gets to you. This is where I want you guys to write War and Peace. Write as much information as humanly possible because the designers do not have ESP as much as we think they do. When people purchase SquareCoil and we come on site to train, there's a lot of people in this industry that are still, I'm going to use the word computer illiterate. And they see an iPad, they see a computer, they think it's the devil reincarnated. They really do. They're like, God, for sure I'm losing my job. That computer's going to take my job. No, that computer cannot bend metal. That computer cannot paint. That computer cannot drill a wall in the sign and install it. You're not losing your job. You're going to be right here in important notes. You're going to say, hey, must be here at 5 a.m., must have security, detail, whatever you want to write there. But it helps the installers. There's nothing worse than getting out to the install and starting to install, and some security guard comes around the corner and goes, hey, what are you doing? You're like, installing the sign. And then you got to explain that for half an hour.
So as soon as Aaron started his presentation, you could tell that he was not some back office computer programmer trying to come in here and tell us how to run our sign business. It was obvious from the beginning that he was in the sign business, and that gave him credibility with my people right away.
Try to be as specific as possible. We're in the custom sign industry. We build complete custom parts, one-offs every single time. So the last thing we want to do is one set of letters. We have no idea what the hell one set of letters is. One set of 3-inch deep face-lit channel letters with 3/4-inch trim cap. That's what we're going to want to write here. So we know what we're doing.
It's not this whole program that everybody needs to learn. It's sectioned, right? So you got the sales and the project management, you got your accounting, you got your fabricators, your wrap guys, you know, so they don't have to have every knowledge of every facet. It's just those sections. So I think, you know, once we break that down into the different groups, it's going to make a big difference.
I'm a sales guy. I'm very lazy. I go like this. I go, it's about 4 feet. And I move on with my day. So the installers have all the accurate measurements. So when you're looking at the survey notes and it says sales, take that with a grain of salt because it's probably inaccurate. Sorry to throw you under the bus.
So we're getting ready to go into the sales group right now. There's maybe 5 or 6 of us. What should we expect?
What you're going to expect right now is you're going to, salespeople they're the extroverts. They're the people that have no problem talking. They have no problem talking. They have no problem controlling a group. So if a salesperson is insecure, they're going to overpower the group and let it run at their pace so they feel comfortable.
Okay.
So it's literally it's going to be a lot more hand-holding of, hey, it's okay, we got this. No, that's not how this is going to work. The salesmen they're a lot of armies of one.
Sure.
And we got to get them into a team. We got to work them into a team right now. So that's going to be the next challenge.
All right, man, let's get it done.
All right. So in this meeting, what we're going to be doing is talking about the sales. I want to go on from start to completion of what just the sales team is going to be doing. You guys are the first step in the conduit between the outside world and us, and so we want to make sure that you guys get everything that you can onto that scope of work so everybody outside knows what's going on. You're not going to include permits in your proposal.
That's another thing because we do.
You do.
Okay. Is there a better way, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I personally think so. I think,
should we not be charging for that?
No, I think you're missing a revenue stream, to be honest with you. So permits are at cost, and my permit acquisition is $85 an hour.
However long that takes.
And however long it takes. Well, every single time the salesman clicks that line item, it shows them what their sale price is going to be and what commissions they're going to get. Nice. $281.93 is what they should be getting. So that number better match $281.93. Yep. This meeting is going to be on project management. So now the job is sold. Now what? So I want you guys to get rid of that thought process. It is now one company, and we're going to process every single project that comes through the shop one way. So on this list, it shows the status, so you know when you can call for final inspections, when you can set it up. There's 2 numbers that you guys want to look at. The first number is, how close was I to matching my estimate? The other question is, did I actually make money? Those are 2 separate things. So my project managers in my company will literally come in, click all active, click their project management name, start at the bottom, and touch every single project every single day, and push it as far as they can every single day. Nice. And that's our method. And that's how we keep going, because the system makes it that simple.
See that, Tom? This is my current active jobs that I'm trying to close. Signs and wraps. It's like I'm categorized, they're organized. You know,
you're organized as best as you can be with what you got.
That's Dale Coil. That's one of the important things that you have to figure out when you come to every company.
Find her. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to find somebody that knows the system in and out, that everyone goes to in the end. It's usually the accountant, or it's usually the front office person, somebody that everyone goes to. In this particular case, it's Jamie. So we'll be working with her to do all the back end setup. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and move you guys into estimating. I want you guys to be both part-time estimators. So I'm going to be training both of you guys to do estimating. Right now, the estimators that we have are going to be overloaded very quickly as we're growing this company, so we're going to need help. In order to estimate this correctly, you guys are going to need drawings. You guys would like to have photos. You're going to want to have documents that has sign criteria, what the landlord wants, or any rules of that nature, before you can even start on the estimate. Luckily for you in the project, you have the designs, you have the photos, and you have the documents. So you have everything at your fingertips. No longer are you going to go chase sales reps down and try and find the information. It's right here in the system.
I have been doing estimating in this company for 37 years, and I've got these formulas in my head. They're square foot formulas. I know how long this is going to take, and I've been working on these formulas forever. So Dom, who runs our router table, and Tim, who's pretty much our general manager of the place, they both have the mindset that it takes to make an estimate, but they wouldn't estimate unless we had this program that walks them through the steps of how much each product's going to cost, how long it's going to take to do it. And since that program was set up like that, literally, I mean, like right now, like this week, they can start being my estimators and free me up to go do what I'm good at, and that's selling more signs.
You screw up and do a warranty project. How much does that cost you?
As far as?
Does it cost you one time, those costs of what you spend on that project? Does it cost you 2 times, or does it cost you 3 times?
It's
three
definitely
times.
I wouldn't say 1, but
It's 3 times.
3. Why?
It's the money that you lost on the original project.
Right. And the money you're spending.
The money you would have been using on somebody else, and then the money you actually spent to fix it.
Yeah, there you go. So
It's 3 times. So if you see a warranty of $400, it really costs you $1,200.
So this walks you through the steps, tells you what you're supposed to be charging for this thing, and it's a kind of a logical, process of how we build a sign. We just walk through the steps, and it gives us the numbers, and all those numbers include the material cost, our overhead, our mortgage, our electric, our labor cost, and it's so much more in depth than my in the brain formulas, but it's easy.
If you're a shop team member and you're out actually doing the fabrication and actually producing the signage, SquareCoil is going to make your life easier, because you're going to actually get a nice clean shop order that matches the work order, that matches the estimate, that matches the designs. A lot of the times when you work with different applications, they have a conglomerate of all these different pieces of paper. They're trying to make heads or tails of it. So now with SquareCoil, everything matches, everything's in line, it goes out to the shop, they can see it. We very much encourage iPads. We don't want to kill any more trees. We want to save all the paper. They're going to be able to open up, zoom in on the drawings, look at the estimate, see how many hours it takes. And then on top of it, our time card is already built in with the estimate. So when they clock into a project that has 2 hours left, it'll pop up and say, you have 2 hours left to complete this project. And then when they clock out to the next project, it says, do you have any materials you want to enter for this project? So it reminds them, makes their life easier. All their heavy lifting is actually producing the sign. And at the same time, the ownership and management gets all of real-time costing, and they know exactly how much money they spent on that project every single day.
Square, was it SquareCoil?
Yeah.
It's a really cool name. So SquareCoil, I think the best thing that it's going to have for us is that it's going to give us the ability to know where we've been. Because a lot of times when I'm going out there as an installer, I'm like, oh, I think I remember that place. Oh, we're going to need to know that. Oh, no. And then the SquareCoil is going to have it so, oh, yep, that happened there. This hasn't happened yet. We know about it. We don't have to find out again and waste that time and effort.
It encapsulates a lot of different processes into one, dashboard, portal kind of thing. I mean, when I had my construction company, I wish I had access to something like this. I mean, back then I don't remember anything. That was one program that did all the things from selling a job all the way through production.
Yeah, the paint department has always been the best department in the shop, so now it's going to be obvious how great we are above everybody else.
This is going to help alleviate a lot of the issues that we have with communication and not knowing the full scope of what we're looking to do. So as a designer, it's going to make our lives a whole lot easier, being able to have all of that information right at our fingertips, all in one easy to reach place.
If you're in the design department, your job is to take the chicken scratch from the salesperson and turn it into this beautiful picture of exactly what that client wants, even though you never met the client. And then the salesman gets to go deliver to the client and say, is this what you want? That's a difficult job. That's a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of ESP that you got to figure out.
It makes it very easy for us to get all the information that we need. It comes to us ready to go. All our information is there. It tells us what we're designing on, who the customer is. This would normally be done through email after email. Having this updatable means that any changes, any progress that we make on it is all right there in the system. We don't have to send another email, then another email. It's really cool.
I don't believe at any point in time I'm teaching somebody something brand new. I think it's things they thought of at one point in time and they forgot about. And now we're sitting here going, hey, do you remember this? And I go, oh yeah, I do remember that now. Now I know what I'm doing. And we're just putting it and capturing all in one place.
We never have taken into account the equipment and how much we paid for that and how much maintenance there is on it and how many machines we're gonna have to replace over the next 3, 5, 10 years. So we gotta kind of account for that so that 10 years from now, we kind of have that money sitting there ready to buy that equipment, and it's just not something we're capturing, when we're quoting our stuff every day. I think we're doing okay, but this is really breaking it down to a science, and once it's programmed into the machine, we don't have to think about it anymore.
All right, day 3, this is test day for SquareCoil. What we're gonna be doing is going through the system. The only difference is you guys are gonna be walking me through this. Now what we're gonna be doing is giving them the worst case scenario, the project from hell, the project that we all hate but we gotta do. Project's gonna have design problems, estimating problems, the city's not gonna approve it. Let's see how this team handles it. We send it off to the client goes, nope, it's not what I asked for. I want red faces on sign B. What do we do?
New design.
Okay. Client disappears. 6 months later, client shows up. Hey, where are we at with this? How do we find that project and answer that question? Where are we at with this? Where do we go in this system?
Existing projects.
Existing projects. I want your thinking caps on for this. We send it off to the customer. Customer goes, nah, I don't want the pylon sign. I'll just buy the channel letters today.
Oh, God.
We're not going to delete anything. He said delete. It's the first gut reaction. He's incorrect. We don't want to delete anything because later on they might buy the pylon sign faces, so you don't want to delete it.
Right.
What do you need to change? By the time we leave here at the end of day 3, this company is going to be running at 100% full speed. The estimators know where to go for the estimating inside the software. The salesmen are going to know what projects they're working on, which ones have sold, which ones I need to work on so they do sell. The shop knows their flow and how much work they have. The accounting department knows what 5 or 6 jobs they're going to have to invoice, and they know all the costing, and they see exactly how much that job cost them, what they sold it for, and what their profit margin was. If you really want to see how a good team works, look over my right shoulder. The meeting's over with, they did a great job, and look, they're still going, hey, if you do this, I do this, if you do that, I do this. They're still figuring out how to hand off in such a perfect manner that the transparency of the software will help them, guide them, and going to make them a success. So when it's all said and done at the end, I always like to sit down with the owners and say, how'd we do? And I'm not gonna lie, you guys got A's, just across the board. You have a good group here, you have a good team. Everybody's on point and was there to help. Your accounting is very strong, production's very strong, your shop guys are strong. Obviously, you have a beautiful paint booth, you have a beautiful setup there, so that's just a win in general. One thing I definitely wanna say is your sales. If there is a department that's weak, it's gonna be sales. I would love to see you guys bring 2, maybe even 3 people on. I don't want any more support. There's no more support, no more designers, no more estimators, none of that. You guys have that. Let's just get the salespeople and start ramping up. As they start ramping up and they start getting real busy, then let's think about another designer, maybe another estimator. But for right now, I need warm blood in here to go out there and start beating the pavement.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's kind of opposite of what we've been thinking all these years. We're like, oh my God, we got to finish up all this work we have. We have a free flow of work coming through. Why would we put another sales guy on when we're doing okay? However, this system and what it's doing for us, it's alleviating so much time and so much oversight of what we have in the business that I think it's going to alleviate some of that stress and pressure, which means we could bring in more sales and go from there, right?
Because we don't have to spend the time babysitting, so we teach them how to use the system, they go in there, and now that's our oversight by seeing what they put out every day.
Right, and we have full access to that oversight 24/7. And the cool thing was, as much help as we needed in that department, you didn't come in here and change things. You didn't change our culture, you didn't change how we did things. You just organized that process and kind of shined a light on what we were missing. There's little nuances, and I mean, I'm not talking about $10,000 here, $10,000 there. I'm talking about $200 here, $250 over here, and this little thing. But if you're doing, 30 projects a month, multiplied it by 12 months, I mean, there's a massive amount of things escaping from our vision, and you kind of really, showed the light on that and showed us what we were missing.
Yeah.
Great feedback.
Awesome, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for bringing me out here. Thank you for allowing me to come and work with your guys' team for a couple of days, and I'm excited to talk to you the next month or so.
I love it. I mean, I've been saying it before, I think it's as big as us buying this giant building. We're gonna know all of our costs, all of, what we've got into the projects. We're monitoring everything. Everything's organized. Everything's very easy, and little tricks he taught us as well. I've been in this business 37 years, and, there's stuff we didn't know. And, now to come in here and look at this, it's like, oh God, it makes so much sense, And once we're following those steps, it's super easy. I'm excited. I can't even tell you. Super excited.
So how excited is Dale about this program?
Oh, I thought about getting like a paper bag for him the other day, and so he could breathe in it, because that's how excited he is. I thought he was going to start hyperventilating. So it's like, I think he's very excited.